I'll take any opportunity you give me to talk about Gabriel Garcia Marquez. I love his work, I love his writing. Everything I've read, I've enjoyed. More so some things, like the obvious, 100 Years of Solitude. Whoa, what a book. There's an argument to be made there for it being one of the greatest books ever written, like top 10 greatest books ever written. This also belongs up there. Collection of short stories. Now, I talked about short stories in a previous video, complaining that short stories can be a little bit hard to get into because the characters arrive and they depart so quickly. And there are 12 stories in this rather slim volume. Strange Pilgrims, the book is called. So why am I bothering to talk about it? Because it's not one of the big hits in the Marquez collection, but I still think that it's worth a look because there's one story in particular here that I was just blown away by, partly because I know the story. And when I started reading it, I was like, hey, I know this story. How is it possible that I didn't know it was written by Marquez? And then I started thinking, but what if it's just his interpretation of an existing story? It's an old standard, perhaps. I don't know. These things happen. So let me tell you about it anyway, and you'll tell me if you've heard this story. I think it's been made into a movie a few times. So the idea is, the story is called I Only Came to Use the Phone. And as soon as I saw that title, I was like, I feel like I know what the idea is going to be. And I was right, because I've seen trailers for films. I've not seen the films themselves. But it's basically a woman who gets sent off to a mental institute by mistake. Her car breaks down. A bus is going past. It's raining. The bus driver takes her in, says, oh, I've just got to drop these guys off, but I'm sure they've got a phone you can use to call, like, a friend or whatever. But it turns out he's taking them all to a mental institute. She gets off. The bus driver's whisked away. She's like, yeah, I just came here to use a phone. And they're like, yeah, sure you did, darling. And then that's it. She's trapped. She's stuck. And that's the story in here. That was definitely my favourite of the stories. The others were very good as well, but they leave a variable impression on the mind. That's the problem with short stories. You read 12 short stories and somebody says, so what were they about? You might be able to remember one. But if you remember one and then ages later you still remember it, that should be telling you something. And that's what this book's telling me. Read it, if only for that one story. It's really good. Well, okay, that's all I had to say today. Good reading.